What's up guys, it's Modern Modeler 16 here today, and I will be doing a review on the Intermountain et44ac in the UP scheme number 2604 with Loksound select installed. So let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing I'd like to talk about are the pros to this engine. I know a lot of people, including myself, have been a little bit disappointed in the past with some Intermountain products, such as their last two releases of the Tier 2 and 3 GEVOs, which have not exactly lived up to what we all hoped they would. They didn't really pull much, they didn't weigh much, they looked alright, and I guess they had Loksound on them, so you can't really argue that. But this engine is a very much improved model, essentially. A lot of the cons they have fixed, such as the weight and pulling power, which this thing weighs over 1.5 pounds. So I didn't convert that to ounces, but over 1.5 pounds, and it's got a much stronger or a much heavier, just a heavier base model as it starts. In the diagram I'm looking at of the interior, they've basically put a giant metal weight over the motor, so to increase its tractive effort quite tenfold, basically, for an Intermountain. So yeah, that's great. I personally think that the paint quality and everything's really good, and that was the concern I was having for scale trains, was the gray wasn't going to look as good, and some people might argue things about the Intermountain. Totally agree with that, but paint was kind of important to me, so this engine delivered on that. Intermountain has really stepped up their detail level from past runs. Looking at the trucks, there's so much more detail than usual. I mean, the body, the shell just looks more detailed than previous runs, especially like the Tier 2 GEVOs and things. Much improved. And yeah, I mean, they have the Loksound Select in there, so, kudos to Intermountain for making the switch. I mean, I know they did it a long time ago, but we all hoped that Athearn Genesis would switch from the incandescent tsunami thing to what Intermountain's done with the Loksound LEDs. And yeah, so kudos to them on that. So let's get into some of my critiques with this locomotive. Alright, so to start off with, this locomotive had a very big issue for me right out of the box. First time I took it down to the club and ran it, it would, on my run down the hill, it started squeaking. And anybody, especially with Intermountains, it's a pain to take them apart. And as much as they have improved it with this line, it's still a pain to take it apart and lubricate it. Well, progressively the squeaking got worse to the point where it was unbearable and I had to pull it off. So that was something I had to change, and I used this Labelle 108 oil. Started putting a lot of it in the gears. I couldn't really access the gearboxes underneath very well because they're so difficult to open, so I really was only able to put oil in one gear and hoping it'll rotate it through all the rest of the gears. But I'm still working on that, so I would guess probably by the time I've sent this video out, it will have been fixed. But so that's that deal. That was kind of big for me, but to some people who might not know how to do it, it could be a problem. But luckily, I had the oil on hand. So my next big issue, don't know how well this is gonna show up. You may notice, and let me try to rotate the box a little bit. You may notice there's some peeling up here, and that is correct. The photo etched grills, this new thing they're doing to make them look like they have more depth. Well, this is actually peeling. Like whatever this part wasn't glued on well enough. And sadly, that is not the only place that's happened. There was a little bit on the other side, but mostly on this side, so that's kind of peeling, and that's a problem. I will have to glue those back on. And pretty much other than that, everything else is pretty solid. I mean, the handrails weren't broken. They feel like normal Intermountain handrails. They're probably going to be a pain to pull off when I end up reflective yellow silling this. I do that to all my UPnB and SF engines. Put that, what brand's that from? That is the Smokebox Graphics. I buy the reflective yellow sills, put them on the bottom. Actually, for reference, I think I've done it with this one over here. Yeah, camera can definitely see that. Yeah, I think it makes a big difference. I saw some guys on Instagram about doing the actually reflective red sill up on the top for the lightning bolt, but I haven't gone into that, and knowing myself, if I did do that, I'd have to do it to all my engines. That'd be a pain. So for right now, we're just doing the reflective yellow sill. So yeah, other than that, I mean, it's a pretty solid engine. So I'll take it out to the layout and we can test some sounds out. Alright, so now we will fire it up and listen to the sound and some lighting features. So this engine, like I already mentioned, has an ESU Loksound select, as well as 2 cell phone speakers, or sugar cubes as others refer to them as. So what you just heard was the automatic warm-up, and yeah, well, now let's listen to some sounds. So we got a horn, and the e-bell comes on automatically. For those of you who like to hit the horn and then turn the bell on manually, it won't work because I mean, it'll work, but the bells actually overlap. So if you listen closely, I'll hit the horn and then the bell, and they'll overlap. So yeah, so other than that, I mean, I changed the CVs for the ditch lights to not flash. I would have to look at what I actually ended up programming them to. I might put it up on the screen, what the CVs are, to fix that. And yeah, I have the volume turned down to, I think, half of what it was. I kept the horn and the bell at max volume because the tier 4s are pretty quiet. So if we fire it up, really good low speed control, and then kick on the dynamics. So I will turn on both the headlight and number boards. I actually can't turn on the dish lights right now because, since you'll notice the couplers aren't on this, it's because I'm at present during this video I've taken parts of the engine apart so that I can work on it, and a wire came off on the ditch lights, so they won't function. Currently I have to solder that back together, but there's some basic lighting features. I mean, it's ESU Loksound, so very pleased with that as always. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this review. This is a very solid engine, very pleased with it. I'm sure a lot of you Scale Trains diehards will be lighting up the comments or something about Scale Trains, but I hear they're delivering this week, so good luck to them. But as Intermountain stands, I am very pleased with the result, and I mean, very, very solid engine. So thank you guys for watching, and tune in for more videos in the future. Alright, thanks guys, bye.